As growing populations and economies fuel rising global water demands, while climate change and environmental pressures increasingly strain supplies, contending users may increasingly compete over limited water resources. Where countries and communities share the same water resources, many observers worry that clashes over water, including potential violent conflicts, may become more common. Recognizing these risks, the United Nations Annual World Water Day is devoted this year to the theme of Water for Peace. Water diplomacy can help decision-makers work toward this goal. Water diplomacy represents the actions taken to promote cooperation and to prevent, reduce, or peacefully resolve conflicts within or between states over shared water resources. Understanding how these cooperative processes have played out in the past can help shape the future of the world's waters. We can see water diplomacy at work in South Asia. The 1947 partition, dissolving colonial British rule in South Asia, created two new countries, India and Pakistan, and launched waves of intercommunal violence that saw 1 million people perish. Partition also divided the two nations over water. The 6 main branches of the Indus River run westward through India before crossing into Pakistan. The new border cut across these tributaries and the canal systems built by the British to support the region's agricultural economy. Pakistan, dependent on the Indus for 3/4 of its water and suddenly severed from vital river sources rising beyond its borders, feared that Indian water demands could deprive it of Indus flows, strangling its economy and jeopardizing food security. Persistent tensions drew the World Bank to mediate the dispute, supporting several years of negotiations that forged the 1960 Indus Waters Treaty. This agreement split use of the 6 tributaries between India and Pakistan, created a joint Indus Waters Commission, and financed a massive infrastructure program to assist Pakistan in developing canals and storage to offset the loss of water resources to India. When it was signed, the World Bank president believed the treaty resolved conflicts that otherwise could have driven India and Pakistan into war over water. Water diplomacy, like the Indus negotiations, can fulfill several functions to foster favorable conditions for cooperation and build capacities for collective action. Water diplomacy facilitates channels of dialogue between conflicting actors and brings together different interests to overcome policy silos. Agenda setting provides mechanisms to identify key issues and frame problems. Policy exploration and development allow parties to jointly assess options and elaborate problem-solving strategies. Knowledge-building activities, such as guidelines and strategies for transboundary data sharing, enable information exchange and policy learning. Mediation by third-party actors, as the World Bank did during the Indus negotiations, can provide spaces for confidence building and sharing best practices. In its strongest form, water diplomacy can establish formal agreements and collective institutions, such as river basin treaties and organizations. Water diplomacy is not a panacea. It doesn't preclude all conflict and rarely tackles every issue. The Indus Treaty, for example, negotiated before global warming was widely understood outside a tiny scientific circle, includes no mechanism to manage shifts in water availability due to climate change. Even so, the Indus Treaty has provided the platform for India and Pakistan to peacefully manage multiple disputed water issues over time. Since it was signed, yearly water demands have risen over 20% in Pakistan and doubled in India. Both countries have pursued and sometimes contested new infrastructure developments for evolving needs. Still, the treaty is held unbroken, even through several major military conflicts. New challenges lie ahead. Mounting demands, climate impacts, urbanization, and pollution are projected to triple the number of global rivers facing water scarcity by 2050. Worldwide, there are 313 international river basins, shared by 150 countries and home to half the global population. Yet most of the world's international water resources today have no cooperative agreements in place. Water diplomacy has much more work to do. To learn more, visit the Project on Water Security at csis.org.